Hello there, people of the internet. It's a windy day out here today, and I'll be honest, it kind of feels pretty good. So I'm out here and I have myself a new, old, not so new, sort of, 1911. This right here is a Rock Island Armory 1911. I had one of these on the channel not too terribly long ago, a couple of years. Well, 2020 was a pretty rough time and I had to get rid of some stuff that I didn't necessarily want to get rid of. And I really did like that 1911. So I've been looking to replace it for quite some time, and I was just kind of, well, not doing it because I was getting other things that are currently on the market. Well, I just so happened to go down to my local gun store and they had one of these sitting to the side, and I was like, hey, that's a Rock Island Armory 1911, and they're like, sure is. And I'm like, is it going out? And they're like, yeah, but we got to clean it and take care of it and check it out and inspect it and, you know, insert XYZ, you know, situations here where they got to go through and do their work around with it. And I was like, tell you what, skip all that, give me a good deal on it. They gave me a good deal on it, so I grabbed it and I walked out the door. So now I have myself a 1911 Rock Island Armory 1911. This right here does have the extended magazine in it. The Rock Island Armory mags are the extended ones. This right here is a legitimate Rock Island Armory mag. I normally prefer, I can't talk today at all, I'm sorry guys, but I normally prefer flush fit magazines with my 1911 simply because that is just the style of magazine that these right here originally came with, but I'm going to go ahead and use the Rock Island Armory mag that I got with this thing. So I don't know how this thing's going to work. I have not shot it yet. It has not been cleaned or inspected. It was just a used gun that was sold to the gun store and then sold back to me, and they didn't even check it out, so I imagine it will probably be okay. I function tested it, and it seems to function okay. I have no idea why this guy got rid of this 1911. Maybe he just needed some money. I'm going to go ahead and put a round down into the dirt. We're going to see if this fires and cycles. I'm going to hold this away from my head just in case the firing pin decides to fly out in the back of the gun. Well, it fired. Looks like it cycled. Go ahead and drop our mag here. Go ahead and pull this back. Yep, it did in fact cycle. And this is not a full magazine. I got 6 rounds left. So we fired, we cycled, no hammer bite or anything like that. I'm going to go ahead and send a round down at our steel. And we hit our steel. All right, she's accurate. One of the things that I like about 1911s is how customizable they are. And with something like this right here, this bare minimum base model, like budget 1911, with it being L45 ACP, you can swap out basically anything that you want. And after just those couple of shots, I think I'm going to swap out the trigger in this thing, because the trigger on this has serrations, and with the recoil on my nice, soft, delicate fingers, it kind of hurts. But hey, we are hitting our target. That one looked a little low. That one also looked a little low. That's entirely me, guys. That's not the gun's fault. I know for a fact he can shoot well, but man, that finger's starting to hurt with those slide serrations, and I'm barely through a magazine here. I don't remember the old one having, well, my old one having slides, or not slide serrations, serrations on the trigger guard itself. But this one definitely does, and it's definitely noticeable. Maybe that's why they got rid of it. Ow. Oh God, that sucks. It is just tearing up my fingers, guys. That is way too sharp. What I might do is I might take a file and I might dull them out some, because the serrations on that trigger are overly aggressive. And I'm not sure if that's supposed to be on there or not. I'm sure that it is. I don't foresee somebody swapping out a trigger with the same coat that matches the frame, because that is damn near identical. But I don't remember my old one sucking that much, because that is a definite problem. It is eating up the side of my finger too. Oh well, that's just one of the things that you get. After I dull that out a little bit, I imagine that's going to be much more delightful to shoot. Besides that, this right here is literally just a stock 1911, has the same tilting barrel action. The locking lugs are on the top of the barrel, just like every other 1911 that exists. That's actually a 1911. We don't have an external extractor. The extractor is internal, as a 1911 should be. Single stack 45 ACP, as a 1911 should be. Single action only. We have ourselves a grip safety on the back. If you're not gripping it down, the hammer will not fall. It does lock open on an empty magazine, or at least it's supposed to. There you go, baby. You can see how the barreling here is loose and flops around. It's supposed to be like that. That's just the way the design is. A lot of times I'll bring people out here with a handgun like this that has the Browning tilting barrel design, and I'll be like, it's okay, it's only a little bit sketchy, the barrel only flops around a small amount, you'll be fine. And then whenever they go to shoot it, I'll take a couple of steps back and they're like, it always gets a laugh out of them. Well, other than the aggressive serrations on the trigger, this right here is actually a very nice little 1911. The trigger on it, I mean, for a budget 1911 is actually not that bad. Rough estimations, still going. Maybe it's worse than I thought. Still going. My goodness, there it goes. God, it's probably about 5-pound trigger pull. But it does fire, and it does cycle, and it is accurate. I hit some of my target out there. Maybe if I tried wearing some gloves. Yeah, look at that. Look at the marks it left on my finger. That is definitely way more aggressive than it's supposed to be, because that hurts. This is like physically painful. Ow. Is that popping up on camera? I hope that's popping up on camera. I don't know. I don't have a screen on this camera, so I can't tell what it can and cannot see until I'm actually in the editing process. So the main reason why I wanted to get another 1911, I have my 1911 A1 made by T-Sauce, Tysis, the country or the factory in Turkey, and that 1911 has issues with hammer bite. It's a 1911 A1 clone, but the hammer profile is a little bit different. Beaver tail's a little bit shorter. And that particular A1 model, they got a couple of A1 models, but that particular A1 model and that configuration, I get some pretty aggressive hammer bite out of that thing. The hammer just comes down a little bit too far past the beaver tail, and it manages to pinch my hand. So I have to like readjust my grip to be able to shoot that thing. And I got to make sure that I don't, have a piece of flesh up there above the beaver tail. Well, I don't like having to readjust my grip every time I take a shot, because whenever I shoot the handgun, not only do I, for that particular 1911, I have to have the beaver tail sitting on the bone of my thumb right here, the actual ball joint right there, so flesh is nice and tight and it doesn't stretch up over that beaver tail. But every time I fire, the recoil is harsh, and that handgun moves around, especially because it's my actual joint that is taking up all of the recoil, is absorbing all of the recoil from that 45, and then the handgun moves around, and then I'm like, all right, don't pull the trigger again, otherwise you'll get hammer bite, so readjust your handgun, readjust your grip, so every time I go bang, I gotta go like this, bang, gotta go like this, and it's just annoying as hell. So whenever I'm out here making my 1911 videos, I'll probably use something like this, because I fired this one regularly, and I got zero hammer bite out of that, so definitely the better range plinking 1911 right there. Actually, here's an interesting little piece of history with the Rock Island Arsenal. The arsenal where this 1911 came from was actually overtaken by the Japanese during their invasion of the Philippines. So it was shut down for a while, and then of course after World War II, I have no idea when, they started up production, and they're still making 1911s to this day. So that's a little fun piece of trivia for the Rock Island Armory that's over there in the Philippines. Alright, I am actually pleased with what I've seen here. What I might do is I might just take the trigger out of my T-Sauce 1911 and throw it into this thing, because the trigger on this is overly aggressive and the trigger on that one is not bad at all. Whenever I'm talking about trigger, I'm talking about the actual physical piece of trigger that you grab, not like pressures or anything like that. I'm talking about the thing that is serrated, that is cutting into my finger. But I may just swap the triggers, because now that I got this one, I doubt that I'll be shooting that one very much, just because I really don't like the hammer bite and whatnot that it comes with. And now it's gonna have it's gonna have serrations on the trigger, which are also going to suck. So anytime I shoot that one, I might just use gloves. Anyway, folks, thanks for watching. Overall, I am pleased with this. I am actually very, very pleased with this, especially considering the price point that I'd gotten at. I do wish that these right here, this right here is exactly how my old one was. The grips have absolutely zero grip texture on them, like at all. They're just flat pieces of wood. And here in the state of Florida, it's hot, my hands get sweaty, especially whenever I'm out here working and doing multiple videos and whatnot. And I know from experience, sweaty hands slide around on these grips. So I might just get me, buy me another set of grips to throw on this thing. Maybe I'll get creative with it and I'll get something nice versus just textured wood grips or something like that. I think I'm going to get myself a nice set of 1911 grips. Anyway, folks, I'm rambling at this point. Thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, share. Description below. Link to all sorts of stuff. Go check that out. You guys go off. Have yourself a fantastic day. I'll see y'all in the next episode.
Been a little while since I've done this. Bonnie and Clyde be damned. Poor man's Garen. It's a shame that bolt-action shotguns aren't more mainstream.